Today we have with us Shara Lewis Campbell on the Intentionality podcast. Women entrepreneurs all around the world face major challenges when it comes to starting their businesses or even taking a step forward. So today in this podcast, we are going to be discussing about Shara's journey. We're going to be talking about how she found her purpose and what it took to be here today where she is. To give a little bit about Shara, Shara's company has taken a very noble social responsibility to publish writers from socially disadvantaged backgrounds, providing them with an opportunity to be amazing. And I think that is terrific. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted Shara on the show today to talk and to share her journey and let everyone know what's going on. I've learned that the challenges women face are not being put forward in the right way. A lot of stuff is not being told. So this podcast is going to be very raw. We're going to share the journey and we are going to pass the baton on to aspiring entrepreneurs to raise the awareness. The series is looking forward to bring your support to shining a light on many such stories to inspire women to take up the baton. Have you read the women entrepreneur articles, anything that I've written so far?
I've had a brief overview, but I haven't, sort of spent as much time as I would have liked with that. And it's purely because of just really about time, and trying to run the business that I have. I mean, we're part of a very, very large industry. And with that, we are just inundated with things to read all the time, whether it be from people like yourself, aspiring authors, there's just so much content, and I consume quite a lot of it during my day-to-day that sometimes I see so many things that my issue is trying to relate who I've seen this from and who this relates to and who that does. So the likelihood is I've read quite a bit, and I do that very constant throughout my day. But sometimes just trying to make the association as to where I pieced it all from is usually the bigger challenge for me.
That is absolutely fine. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Entrepreneur series. Yeah. So basically, it talks about passing the baton on to other entrepreneurs or to women in general, because we stand here and we're looking at everybody up, right? And
Yeah.
we think we don't have a pathway, but actually it's a staircase and the only way is up. So that is the primary focus here. So each and every one of us can take the journey. So do you think we need to pass the baton on, and why?
I think so. I think it's important that, with the work, I mean, that's the whole point of what I'm doing, why I do what I do, in being able, as well as sort of producing authors within my own business. I work also as a writing coach as well, where I can impart that knowledge of how people can construct books and, use that to their own advantage, in building their own careers as authors, and maybe using the skills as well, like I've done within publishing, as I've learned throughout the years, and have utilized those, to create another element in my own business. And I would definitely want to share that experience with others, because I don't come typically from a writer's background. I've gone away and I've learned those skills, and because of my particular interest and passion, as a probably overzealous reader to begin with, that has spurred me on to become an author. And nobody gave me those skills. I had to go away and develop those. So now that I have that knowledge, I think I'm close on to almost 30 years within the industry and writing, etc., from when I very first started. But I think that it's very important for me to share those skills with other people who may have those same desires. Definitely.
Do you think you lose anything at all by sharing your journey with everyone around you?
Definitely not. I think
or the secrets, or whatever tactics or techniques that you've used, are we losing anything when we share it on with the world?
Definitely. I would say, if anything, it would be the complete adverse to that. If anything, we gain, because in terms of me being able to help others in building a legacy for themselves, that also in turn provides me with a legacy, and probably a greater one, if anything, than the one I'm helping to forge. And what I mean by that is that so far to date in my own business, I mean, we've had it's 2 days ago was a year the business had been established.
Wow.
And thank you. And within that time, we have successfully produced and published 16 incarcerated new authors. And we've also, in total, within that year, it's been 56 authors in total. So for those 56 people that go on to describe their journeys and have these conversations with yourself and other people, you know, within the industry who do your job, when they talk about their start in life, they will have to mention me, you know, and my business and what we've been able to do to contribute. So to me, that just sort of signifies a domino effect, whereby you've got 56 people talking, and whoever they have spoken to and will continue, and those people then continue to speak to, you know, it helps to sort of build my brand, you know, with what I'm doing. So there is like, you know, a reason for doing what we do.
You're
And
leaving
it's,
a footprint.
that's right, you know, and definitely leaving that footprint and legacy behind. And also in my own personal journey, I would like to one day be able to pass on the business when I'm no longer doing it, you know, in many, many years to come, and when I can't do it anymore physically, and pass that on to a member of my family, and hopefully they'll all take it and, you know, and run with the baton, as it were, and you know, and take it to larger heights than I was able to do. Yeah,
That's absolutely wonderful, because that is the main purpose of sharing our journey, because we want to be able to pass on what we've learned. We want to be able to leave a legacy behind, and as you said, a footprint.
yes.
So what do you have you heard of the word intentionality? I'm sure you have. And how does it align with beauty and with your publishing company?
Um, Very much so. I mean, we're very intentional, and I think even just in the way that um, from the very on start of before Beauty and the Beast came to being, you know, we had it very firmly in our mind that we wanted to serve a particular demographic. That doesn't mean, mind you, that we dismiss any other demographic. You know, we have the tools and we have the experience to be able to offer our services to any author, whether they're aspiring from the demographic that we've chosen intentionally, or whether other existing authors are moved by what we do and want to come and work with us, you know, and just produce their books with us. And we'd be happy to take that on, and we have done so. So we don't discriminate, but for us, we have a particular interest in providing a voice for the voiceless, because we feel that those, you know, the market is very oversaturated with fictional stories and things like that, and there's a lot to be learned from those stories, you know, in terms of penmanship and, you know, characterization and things of that nature. However, I have found in my experience that with non-fictional writing, whereas we do every genre, but with non-fictional writing in particular, is where we're able to learn a lot about other people's journeys and experience. And by sharing those experiences around the world, you know, with readers and just people of general interest, what happens with that is that it helps to sort of create and have a lot of positive effect in the world, whether it reduces crime, whether it helps somebody to give them the confidence to go on, and whether they want to write a book, or whether they are moved by that particular person's journey, that they want to then develop an area of expertise in that particular field. You know, it creates a lot of positive vibes, I would say, and outcomes. And as a result of that, I think it's really, really important. Yeah.
So it's
definitely.
deliberate. It's deliberate with the purpose. I love that. I mean,
Definitely.
that's beautiful. So where did you derive? I know that your company has a very noble purpose over here. But where did you derive this? How did you come about? What is that one thing, if you could say it in one line, what is that one thing that wanted you to go about and do this?
It was very, I was more out of a compelling nature to do so. You know, I was contacted by a third party regarding my business partner, who wasn't my business partner at the time, and he was very keen to publish and was finding it very difficult to do so because of his challenging circumstances and background. And I could relate to that because I'd always wanted to be an author as far as I could remember, but I didn't come from that industry and I wasn't getting the support, you know, within my own family to do so. You know, and I'm the first author within my family as well. And, you know, so sort of opening those doors, you know, there was lots of hurdles to climb, and, you know, there was only one person within my family that supported me throughout the journey. And now that, you know, the business is established and it's doing well, you know, we're getting lots of other support. But when we were first starting, I don't think there were many believers. And thank God we didn't listen to those people, because if we had, we probably wouldn't have a business today. So, you know, I would definitely advise, you know, if you've got a dream or you have a desire, then definitely persevere and don't let anything stop you. But that was my sole reason. I mean, I was looking for purpose in my writing, and then, you know, simultaneously by doing so, you know, I received this, you know, contact for somebody who was desperate to and desperately keen. And without even speaking to that author, I knew that I was going to publish their work, and therefore and in that moment, that found me my purpose. Yeah.
Deep down inside your heart knew what you wanted, and I would
Yes.
say the opportunity came your way, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because if you did not have that deep down in your heart that you wanted to do that, that would have not come your way.
No.
I've always thought that when we truly believe something, it happens for us. It
Yes,
happens for
definitely.
us, it happens to us, it happens with us.
I
So that
agree.
is absolutely amazing. I love the answer to this. Starting out, what was the worst mistake you made?
I think we've made quite a few, but I had to try to think. What was the worst mistake? I would say, I don't know about a mistake, because I think they've all been sort of like learning experiences. What I would say is probably by wanting to help many, many people, and I think sometimes our demographic can be challenging in the fact that they already have challenges, not just in their own, not just by wanting to join the industry, but and getting that opportunity, but also they come from challenging backgrounds. So in working with those people, it's probably been extra challenging for us. So whereas we probably have chosen a very difficult demographic to work with, I wouldn't say that it was a mistake by any means. I would say it's been to our benefit, because it's
Challenging.
It's probably been, I would say, not a mistake, but probably been our biggest challenge at times. You know, sometimes we work with people and then maybe they might not want to, through a fear or whatever, they've decided, you know, this is not the right time for them. So, you know, there's lots of those kind of challenges, I think, at times. You know, we've had that quite recently. So that's always very disappointing. But the good thing is that it hasn't changed those relationships. We're still in touch with those people, you know, and we still, you know, support them in whatever it is that they want to do. And the great thing about our business is that once you sort of make contact with us and we're aware that you're there, you have access to us for life, you know, so we give you lifetime access. So, you know, if you don't want to do it now, you can always come back to us at a later date when you are ready, and we will work with you, you know, no judgment.
That's amazing. You know, that's the kind of support that everyone's looking for, because when people start off, you know, they're all ambitious and they start off, but then there are so many other things that come forward, like you said, family, friends, relationships, all of them become an obstacle. But if there's someone to say, you know, I'm waiting there for you, you can still do this, I think that's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
But I think I'm looking at it the right way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
What entrepreneurial tricks have you discovered on this journey?
Um, Tricks. I would
Tricks,
say, I don't know
practical
about,
tips.
yeah, I wouldn't say about, I don't know about tricks so much. I mean, for me, I would say tips, if anything. But I would say, as an entrepreneur, it's very important to me that I feel aligned to the work that I'm doing. And because working from a place of authenticity is very important to me, also to my business and also to the people that we work with. It's very important that they feel secure and that they feel that they're going to be fully supported in their journey and that the book is actually going to take place. I suppose a lot of the time when they meet with people like us, they're fulfilling a dream, something that there was something they had fathomed that they never thought may become a reality. So trying to ensure that those things happen for them is very important. And it also builds as well in terms of trust and character. Again, skills that are quite essential to me personally and also in my business. I would also say as well, yeah, just really those things, I suppose, trust, authenticity and just and also being transparent as well in what we do. Yeah.
Fantastic. Do you follow any kind of self control mechanisms? Because it can, there, as you said, there can be too much of things that you take on your plate, right? So is
Yeah.
there something specific that you do to keep a check to make sure that everything goes smoothly as planned?
Yeah, the way that we are set up, so we're based in the UK and in the US, but we operate internationally. So to date, we are very fortunate that we've been able to publish authors from every continent, within this period. So we're very pleased about that. And also, I would say, in terms of our business, we are global syndicates for the with the largest writers platform in the world. So working very closely with the owner of that business and with our other partnerships as well. And probably most importantly, working with my business partner as well, Andrew Foster, he keeps me very well grounded. So having
We
somebody
have an
like that.
accountability partner.
That's right, very much so. And every day we are accountable to each other for the duties that we have, within our roles and how we perform them. And because we're based in different countries, that element of trust and accountability has to be there. So, every day before we close up shop for the evening, we, ensure that we sort of discuss what we've done for the day and how we plan to sort of take those actions forward for the next day or for the next period when we have to work on those particular tasks. Yeah, that's how we do
So
it.
that's great. That's great. I mean, we definitely need an accountability partner for everything we do. I mean, we kind of had it since we were born. I think we had our parents to walk us through. Then we had our teachers,
Yeah,
and I think when we are on this journey as well, it's important to have someone you're accountable to, or create an accountability system that can help you monitor what's exactly going on and whether we are on the right journey. So
that's
that's
right.
absolutely a good thing that
I
you have,
agree.
and I would love to speak to him someday.
Yes, I was hoping that he'd be able to make this, but he's teaching at the moment, so he is overrun. So, hopefully we can arrange that for another time.
That'll be amazing. So here's another question. What was your greatest fear before you started off, and does that fear still exist?
I think, did I have any fears? I think just probably just all the usual things, am I going to have the time, can I really do this, do I have enough experience, and especially coming from a challenging background myself, as I've mentioned before, I didn't come from this industry, so I had to create a lane to be in it, and by doing so, I've been able to afford myself and our company the opportunities that we've been so lucky to receive. So I think those things have kind of really helped. But I wouldn't, yeah, I would say that I think that just being sort of consistent, in our approach. But before, I would say that I was quite nervous, but I think that overall, just knowing that I'm qualified to do what I do, I have the relevant experience, and I have the greatest mentors you could ever, hope for within a business. I think all of those things have really helped me and and help the business transform into what it is today. So yeah.
Is there
Well, that's
someone you
awesome.
look up to in terms of what you're doing today, or where you are right now?
I will say this before, what really spurred me on to become a writer. I was always writing, and I was doing it privately. I wouldn't share my work with anyone, and I did that for over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then when I read J.K. Rowling's story, so not about any of the books that she's produced, but when I actually read her personal story about becoming a writer, I could really relate to that. And from there, I just thought, right, that's it. That's giving me all the confidence I need. Because she seemed to have it a little bit worse than I did, but I could really relate to where she was coming from, and I just thought, yep, I'm going to pursue this, and I have done, ever since.
Amazing, and I thank you for doing that. And I
Thank you.
really appreciate that you took that step. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking to you today. I wouldn't know you, and I wouldn't be able to share your story
Thank
with
you.
everyone who is at the same stage you were before you started off. I would say at least 8 out of 10 women who want to go on and achieve their dreams or take up their dream careers, they have this fear instilled in them. And to be able to say that I did this with confidence, even though I had all these voices behind my head,
Mm,
I would really say it's amazing, and I want to thank you for that.
thank you.
What is the sacrifices that you've had to make to be here today?
Sacrifice,
In this,
oh, plenty,
yeah, the
plenty.
sacrifices to be here as an entrepreneur, as the co-founder of Beauty and Beast, and for doing all the lovely things that you're doing for people. Even though you're doing all these beautiful things for people, I'm pretty sure there are some sacrifices you've made on
There
the way.
is, there is some major sacrifices in the fact that, we are a small business. So the concentration for me is really about this business. So that means that most of the other things that other people get up to in their lives, and they have these full lives, of doing various activities, etc. It doesn't happen for me much these days. But I can say this, I'm very well traveled, I've been there and done it all. And, to me, running this business is a part of my life, and a big one at that, because I'm very passionate about what I do as a writer as well. So I can relate throughout all the processes, that a writer will have to go through. So for that reason, it isn't very much like work for me. It is very much like a labor of love, I would say. Um, we work tirelessly. I mean, myself and my business partner do 150 hours per week each minimum, just to have
Wow.
this
Are
business
you
run.
serious?
So what I sacrifice most, if anything, is sleep, and I will say this, I will admit today, it's been almost a year and a half since I've slept in my own bed, because we run this shit 24/7. And yeah, to fit in and meet everybody internationally means that we don't get much sleep. We're up all the time. We're catnapping, to fit in all, and then we do everything ourselves. We coach, we write, we do all the editing, the proofreading, the screenplays, and we don't just do books now. We've extended our business and expanded it somewhat into film and media. as well. So we do all that work. We do the production, the directing, the screenplays, you name it, we do it. So, there's a lot going on. There's a lot that keeps this machine ticking. And we're here to make sure that happens.
That's fantastic. So, what do you want to tell the audience listening today about what Beauty and Beast Publishing does, and how can they get in touch with you? Is there a community that you've created that we can be a part of if we want to follow your journey?
Yeah, certainly. So what I would say about our business is that first and foremost, we are a book publishing and film company, media specialists. And with that, our demographic, we specialize in those that have come from challenging backgrounds and are not typically from the writing industry. So if you want an entry position into the business, into the industry, the writing fraternity, then we are your best port of call because we can make that happen for you. And we are on all social media outlets. And I would say that our biggest platform is LinkedIn at the moment, which is great for us because it's a very professional place and environment to be in at the best of times. And we wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So if you want to get hold of us, that is the best place. We also have our website as well, which is beautyandthebeastpublishing.net. And we can also be found on Instagram, Facebook, I think LinkedIn and Twitter, so TikTok as well. So all the sort of main hubs, social medias, you can find us. And you can also email us as well, at BATB_publishing at iCloud.com.
I'm going to add all of this on this podcast so that people can get in touch with you.
Thank you.
If you were to write a book about yourself, what would you call it?
I've already done that. So I've written 3 books. Fourth is just about to be published. Hopefully, probably looking at, if I'm lucky, if I have enough time, I might be able to get it out just before the end of this year, or if not early next year. I've written a couple of books about myself. I've written a trilogy. The third part is the one I'm talking about that'll be released later this year or early next year. And that's called McGorran's Beach. It's a McGorran's Beach book series, and that talks about my life when I was living in Australia for 4 years, and talks about my writing and publishing there, because it was through Australia and some of the challenges that I experienced whilst I was living there, which born my first book, so my first published piece. So that I'm very proud of. And then my most recent book is Beauty and the Beast, Two Souls Connected by Divine Literature, which is my most recent book. And that talks about my journey in writing and how I got the business started.
Yeah, I read a preview of that. I'd definitely love to get my hands on the book. I believe your books are on Amazon and on the Beauty and Beast Publishing website.
That's right, yeah.
That is fantastic.
I'll make sure I'll send you a copy, Fatima.
Thank you so much, Shara. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this series of Intentionality, where we discussed all the things that you went through. And most importantly, I was very interested about the support system that you had when you started off, and the courage that you shared with us for being able to start this journey. I think that is my takeaway over here. The courage. I think you're a very fierce woman. I think that I've decided to give an adjective for every woman that comes on the podcast. So any entrepreneur that comes on the podcast, for this matter. And I would say you're a very fierce woman, and I want to wish you all the very best on this journey, where you can go on and help more people to do what you're doing, and kind of guide them and tell them it's okay, with a pat on the shoulder, because that's the intention of this podcast as well, to be able to tell people it's okay. It's not something to be afraid of,
No.
and go ahead, take that step. There's someone behind to hold you if you fall, because everyone's always been on that journey where they feel that they're going to fall. And yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I would also add as well that they should just feel the fear and do it anyway.
Feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay, I
Yeah.
love that. For our listeners today, I will be sharing links on how you can connect with Shara. And if you are interested in knowing more about Beauty and Beast Publishing or buying any of her books, we will have all of this information in the blog post and show notes associated with this podcast episode at www.fatimawilliams.me/intentionality podcast. Thank you and have a wonderful day.